I'm Barbara Buswell, and I am with Peak Parent Center, which is Colorado's Parent Training and Information Center. And I'm the director of the Region 5 Technical Assistance Centers to help the other parent centers in our region.
Brilliant. So what's the mission of Peak Parent Center?
The mission of Peak Parent Center is to give families information and tools so that they can advocate for their children to have great lives and fully participate.
Mm-hmm. So what does that look like? Tell me a story about a family you might work with and how you might help them.
How about my own family?
Okay.
I have a son who's 30, and when he was born 30 years ago, he lost oxygen at birth, and we had neonatology, and everyone said, "Oh, we've saved him." And then he had problems, and we didn't know what to do, and people said, "Oh, a lot of problems, maybe he shouldn't live with you, but he might go to Harvard and play football, or he might be a vegetable." Those were the words we were told. And so we said, well, Harvard, football, not that important, but we'll kind of take that direction. And we found the first year of my son's life, we didn't meet another family that had a child. And we went to the library and found books that were written 40 years before. So as soon as we started figuring out things, we thought, we have to, anything we've learned, we've got to give away. Got to give it back, got to give other families tools. They may make sense of it differently, but this was really hard, and we're fairly confident. And so then we heard about a federal grant, and a friend and I wrote a proposal, and we're funded, and so we're now part of the Parent Center Network. And so again, our mission is to give families the various tools and tactics they need for their own lives. We don't go side by side, we don't give them money, we don't buy therapy, but hopefully we teach them the skills so that they can create the life and for their kids.
Great. Now, I know you're an old pro now when it comes to technology. You're hip, even. But before you were at that point, before you sort of started catching on to this technology stuff, I'd love to hear if you can remember how you thought about technology for your organization just a few years ago.
When we started, and I heard about it, we got an AOL account, and everybody in the organization used the account. And we had to, it got too overwhelming, and so there were too many emails, and no one wanted to read it, and so then we all sat down and said, we have to make some sense of this. And then, you know, we had learned about the web and started to navigate. And I guess I love to work on a team. And so usually the key people around, or whoever was there, would sit down and say, what do we need to do? How can we do it? And then who are some really smart people we know in the community? And so we also used some smart people. We happen to use Macs, and our Apple guy is as smart as he can be, and he was always willing to sit down and get a whiteboard and say, we should do this, we can consider this, we can consider that, and so he really helped us, and he always would say, yeah, that's a sexy new tool. However, what are you trying to do? And so I feel like that guidance has helped us from the very, very beginning. Okay.
So it sounds to me like you've always been, you know, at least open, right? Your default answer has been why not rather than let's not.
Well,
is that right?
It's interesting too.
So you like it. You have a proclivity for it on top of that.
I like to see how we might figure things out. Okay. Actually, I took a class on programming.
Really?
I thought that that's what I should learn in the very early days. And I loved it. And I created 3 or 4 games. It was the most amusing thing. And then life was too pervasive. But the reality between programming and between using technology, that they were very, very big steps, because that was when computers were brand new.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about what you might be most proud of in terms of your use of technology at the center.
I think that the work we've done the last year with our technical assistance efforts to create the new website, we had our website for Peak Parent Center. Roger, who's part of our team, so we have a collaborative team for Region 5, had his website. But when we decided that we should try to figure out how to use technology, as well as teach people about technology, that if we could use what we were trying to figure out and model the ways we wanted to work and take risks in our region to try new things, I think that's been the thing I'm proudest about. And I feel like we've created a community in which some of the things we try are flops. They don't work so well. And then we say, gee whiz, that didn't work. Probably we don't want to throw out the approach we tried. The way we tried it didn't seem to work. We may look at it again and try it in a new way, or we may say, that seemed like such a smart way to get information to people, but nobody uses it. So how do we want to communicate? So I feel like it's been pretty dynamic in our region, and so it's been fun.
So I hear a few things in there. One is that it's a collaborative effort, right? You're collaborating around technology, and that's something that is newer for your field. This idea, the collaboration there.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then I also heard that it is, you're being really open and transparent. So not only are you doing this work, but you're telling people how you're doing it, and you're documenting the failures as well as the successes. So they're able to not just use the resource, but learn about how you built that resource. Okay, great.
You know, Holly, one other thing I think is really important. I told you earlier that I was, in terms of NTEN last year, I was so ready. I wanted to support Roger and JC to go. I thought that was awesome. Our tech guy, our program person, and I was very interested in San Francisco, but I thought that I did not have the expertise at all. And so being encouraged, pushed to be there was hugely important. And I feel like we have a pretty seamless team. We all can ask questions of each other. Sometimes we look at Roger and say, hey, you have to know about this or put us in touch with people. And sometimes, you know, we just do that really dynamically, kind of in an ongoing way. And that has been really important, I think.
But now you can be part of the conversation because you feel better equipped. Yeah.
Well, and with some of the new efforts, people call me and ask me things, and I'm thinking, gosh, I don't know, I think this is what I say. I'm kind of feeling like I'm making it up, and then I go back to the team and say, this is what I said. And I'm getting
sure
better.
enough, you were right.
I'm getting closer. So, or if not, if I'm off, the good thing is that then I'll call somebody back and say, you know what, the more I've thought about it, I talked to my team.
Yeah.
We ought to look at it this way.
Yeah, interesting. Well, I think I've told you that I don't think you're a rarity among EDs. There are plenty of executive directors out there that are really engaged in the technology part of meeting their mission. But there are certainly still a lot of executive directors that are reluctant to, you know, just as you were, really kind of nervous about making that leap into coming into this space. So I wonder if you have any advice for them?
Trying things in a safe way before you feel like having permission to try things, be with people, watch them while they try things before you feel like you have to adopt is really important. The other piece is that looking very carefully at what you're going to do and what the risks could be in terms of not diving into huge financial commitments. That it's okay. You don't have to do everything at once. Find the activity that's most pressing for your organization. Figure out ways to do that. Talk to people who know. Find people in the community, like our Apple vendor, who happens to be this great guy. Right. And just get the amount of information that you need. I need a lot of information. I like to hear from a lot of people, and I need to see the big picture. But whatever your style is, get information. Try it. Watch people who try it, and move forward. And small is okay. Yeah. Targeted, I think. The thing that was really overwhelming for me at first was when I felt like, oh my gosh, we have to do all these things at once. Right. And then social media came out, and it's like, oh my God, we have to have Twitter, and we don't have LinkedIn, and we don't have this, and we don't have that, and what are we going to do? But just being grounded and trying to figure out what we want to reach more families. So what are 2 ways? Let's look at the metrics. Let's see how we're doing. We retool, and then decide where to go, and find other people who are comfortable with technology.
Yeah, great. Thank you for your time.